It started on a quiet afternoon, the kind where the silence of the house feels heavier than usual. My husband was out of town again, and I told myself I'd finally take a day to relax. That's when I booked the massage. When he arrived at my door, tall and broad-shouldered, his presence filled the frame before he even stepped inside. His smile was professional, his voice calm, but there was something in his eyes that made me feel seen in a way I hadn't in years. I should have treated it like what it was, a simple appointment, a service. But the moment he crossed the threshold, the air shifted. And before I tell you exactly how far things went that day, do one thing for me. Like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit that bell. Because what I'm about to confess is the most dangerous secret I've ever shared. I led him inside, pretending my heartbeat wasn't rattling against my ribs. He carried his table with practiced ease, setting it up in my living room while I tried to act casual like this was nothing more than a normal appointment. "Where would you like me to start?" he asked, his voice low, steady. I swallowed hard. My shoulders. They've been tense lately. When I lay down, the first press of his hands against my back made me exhale a breath I didn't realize I was holding. His touch was firm, confident, and with every slow movement, my body softened beneath him. It should have ended there, just a massage, nothing more. But the longer it went on, the harder it became to ignore the heat building inside me. His fingertips lingered a second too long, his breath brushed my skin when he leaned closer, and each time I shifted beneath his hands, I felt my own resolve slipping. I told myself I was imagining it, that he was only doing his job, but deep down, I knew I wasn't imagining anything. There was something happening in that room, something I couldn't deny. His hands moved lower, working across the small of my back, slow and deliberate. I closed my eyes, telling myself it was just part of the session, but my body betrayed me. Every touch sent a shiver rushing through me, every pause felt loaded, like a question waiting for my answer. "Is the pressure okay?" he asked, his voice close, almost too close. "Yes," I whispered, my throat dry. When his hands lingered along my waist, my breath caught. He didn't move away right away, and neither did I. That was the moment I should have stopped it, the moment I should have said this isn't right. Instead, I shifted beneath him, not away but toward. His silence told me everything. His touch grew slower, more deliberate, no longer just professional, no longer just muscle and skin. It was something else. I knew exactly what was happening, and instead of pulling back, I let it. I don't know who broke first, him or me. All I know is that one moment, his hands were working the knots in my back, and the next, they were lingering too long at my hips. My breath quickened, but I didn't tell him to stop. I couldn't. He leaned closer, his voice a whisper that brushed against my ear. "Do you want me to continue?" The sane answer would have been no, but the word never left my lips. Instead, I turned my head slightly, just enough for our eyes to meet. That tiny movement was the only permission he needed. The air between us shifted instantly, no longer calm, no longer professional. His touch was different now, hungry and deliberate, and I let myself melt into it. I knew it was wrong. I knew I was crossing a line I could never uncross. But in that moment, with his hands on me and my body betraying every ounce of guilt, I didn't care. For the first time in a long time, I felt alive. When it was over, the room felt impossibly still. The only sound was my own uneven breathing as I pulled the robe back over my shoulders, trying to collect myself. He packed up his table in silence, his movements calm, professional again, as if nothing had happened. But the look he gave me before leaving said otherwise. It wasn't casual. It wasn't forgettable. It was the kind of look that told me he knew exactly what we'd done, and that it wasn't the last time. When the door shut behind him, the guilt came rushing in. I sat on the edge of the couch, staring at the floor, my husband's absence suddenly heavier than ever. My mind screamed that it was wrong, that I had destroyed something I couldn't fix. And yet, beneath the guilt, something else pulsed. A thrill I couldn't deny. Because for the first time in years, I hadn't felt like a neglected wife or a woman fading into routine. I had felt wanted, seen, alive. And once you taste that, it's impossible to forget. I told myself it was a mistake, that it would stay in that one afternoon, locked away like a bad memory. But secrets don't disappear that easily. Every time I walked past the room where it happened, I felt it all over again. The weight of his hands, the heat of his touch, the way I hadn't said no. My phone would buzz with my husband's texts, sweet and ordinary, and I'd answer like nothing had changed. But inside, everything had. The truth is, I crossed a line that day, and part of me never wanted to step back. Because it wasn't just about the massage or the thrill of something forbidden. It was about feeling alive again. Maybe you think I'm awful, maybe you're right. But if you've ever been starved for attention, if you've ever craved being seen so badly you'd risk everything, you know exactly why I let it happen. I let the masseuse in. And no matter how wrong it was, part of me would do it all over again.